Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. It is Monday, and that means we've got the positional reviews of the season 2022-2023, and we're going to start with the goalkeepers, Liam. Wolverhampton Wanderers goalkeepers. Let's start with the number one. Let's start with Jose Sarr. Would you say mixed season for Jose?
Yeah, definitely. I do think he's a really good goalkeeper. I think that's, start with the positives.
Okay.
He was exceptional in his first season. I still think he's a very good goalkeeper there. But there was weird moments with Jose this season where he just seemed to lose his confidence. His distribution was poor at several occasions. And there were a lot of times where I don't think he necessarily cost Wolves points because they were in games they were already losing, but he just gave Wolves some nervy moments, and that I think affected some of their away performances and really the way that the defence operated. But at the same time, he also made some big saves that gained Wolves points. I think Palace here was a big one for him, where he made quite a few big saves. There's a few of the games as well. So look, he's not had his best season, especially when you compare it to last season. But it's not been terrible. So we've got to have a little bit of realism here. It wasn't awful, but not up to the standard he set.
But Sarkic started off as the number two and kind of left, and then Dan Bentley came in. So maybe a little bit about Sarkic first.
Yeah,
didn't quite happen for him, did it? We spoke to him pre-season. He was very buoyant, wasn't he? He was very bullish to really push Jose Sarr, and just never worked out.
No, it didn't work for him. Unfortunately, he didn't really get that chance. I mean, he had 2 or 3 games in the cups that he got all together before going to Stoke, and obviously then picked up an injury, played fairly sort of frequently for them until the injury. So I think a good goalkeeper, I think likely will probably move on this summer on a loan as a sort of bare minimum is the likelihood. And just didn't really work.
So Dan Bentley comes in, and we only saw a couple of games from him towards the end of the season, but I think overall kind of impressed, didn't he? I know he maybe slightly frustrated at the goal he let in here in the home debut, but especially Manchester United, even though they lost 2-0 on the day, I thought it was very, very good. And one for next season as well. Yeah,
I mean, losing 2-0 in your debut for the club, in your Premier League debut, but probably being the best player on the pitch, for Wolves anyway. Look, very impressed with him, I think, in those limited chances he got on the pitch. Still fairly solid here, albeit the goal against Everton, as you mentioned, was disappointing to let in. I think maybe got a little bit carried away trying to come for the ball and claim it, be a little bit too aggressive. But that very small one instance aside, I thought he did really well. And off the pitch is really where he came into his own. He's a leader, a good character. Added a little bit more of experience and steel to the Wolves dressing room, which they lost in the summer. They needed that in January. They got it, and Bentley played a big part in that. So, did he play a huge part in Wolves staying up on the pitch? Obviously not, because he played 2 games, albeit he did well. Off the pitch, a really good figure around the training ground and the dressing room. So that was invaluable to Wolves at the time.
So moving on to next season then, do you see Jose Sarr still being here? Dan Bentley, like I say, took his place for 2 out of the last 3 games. Do you see Dan Bentley running in close or even starting as the number 1? Or can you see a different keeper starting as number 1 next season?
Obviously it's early days. A lot of things change quickly. What I'd say right now, the likelihood is they're probably both around next season. But I did report back when they were sort of in January looking at getting Bentley in, that they were going to bring in another goalkeeper, someone to challenge Sarr, and they may look at doing that in summer as well. So it's not, it's not impossible.
Someone to challenge Sarr. So would you say that Dan Bentley would then go to number 3?
No, someone to challenge Sarr in January. Okay. But in the summer, potentially a number 1 style goalkeeper, or it could be someone to challenge. So there's a possibility that Sarr would move on and they bring someone in, but I don't think it's really high on the priority list when it comes to looking at what they've got to do this summer. So it's possible, definitely not impossible, but probably not a number 1 priority.
What does Jose Sarr need to improve on next season? Is it distribution? Is it shot stopping? Is it being more vocal?
His shot stopping for the most part is very good.
Is it decision making?
Yeah, I think so, because his penalties have been pretty good as well. But a lot of his strength from his first season were really what let him down this year. Distribution being 1, both with his hands and with his feet. The aggressive control in his own box, his assertive dominance in his own box. He didn't really have that this season. A little bit nervous, lacking the confidence. Decision making a big one, because obviously, small errors aside, when to come for the ball, when to distribute, when to play different types of passes, it didn't really work for him. So his strength from his first season really let himself down this year, and that's where he's got to improve. I mean, it's to be honest, across the board, because it was fairly average, but we know he's got it in his locker as well.
So give me an overall grade. We're going to be doing grades this season. So for the goalkeepers collectively, what grades would you give them? I'll give a grade, you give a grade. What do you want to do, first or second?
I'll go first on this one, but maybe we can mix it up throughout the week.
Okay, I like that.
I'll go C.
Oh! I'm going to C2.
C, there you go.
CC my baby.
There you go. I don't know what that means.
Okay, it's an old nursery rhyme. So that was Monday. That was the goalkeeper review. Tuesday, be a little bit less noisy because we'll be inside. The guys are relaying the pitch at the moment, so we'll have a nice indoor location for you. And that means we're going to be discussing the defenders. We'll see you then.